Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Cancer Bites. I'm Siobhan Shaw. I'm the founder of Cancer Bites, and I'm also the co-founder of growingtogive.org. I recently discovered that in addition to the many chapters of my life, that I could add a chapter on stage 4 breast cancer, being a patient of this deadly disease. And so this podcast and the Cancer Bites community has been born from my desire to take the fear and the uncertainty of breast cancer and turn it into connection, into support, and into hope. And I'd like to introduce our host of Cancer Bites. Yes, she'll be the host. I'll be a little bit more quiet and less vocal, but I want to introduce you to the incredible Stacey Alvarez de la Campa. She's from the Barbados, sitting in the Barbados right now. So we've already gone international.
Yeah, we sure have.
Stacey, can you introduce yourself to the
Sure, of
audience?
course, of course. Well, as Siobhan mentioned, I am in the beautiful island of Barbados. I'm originally from a very small island close to Barbados called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I have a background in community engagement, media, and climate justice, in education, in sustainability. And I really want to be part of this movement. And I'm very honored to be part of this movement, to amplify voices and stories that can be universal and just resonate. And as Siobhan said, really create a sense of hope. Because I think in a space like this, there's a sense of hope that can touch everybody. These are authentic stories. And even though sometimes they might be a bit painful and uncomfortable and raw, we're focusing on the hope and we're focusing on the growth. So that's something that I'm very, very excited to be part of. And thanks again, Siobhan, for inviting me.
Well, first of all, when you said that you wanted to help with Cancer Bites, I was thrilled because I love your energy. I love you have such intelligence and you're so well spoken. I've seen you speak and facilitate at so many international events, food security events, climate rights events. I mean, you're all over the world. And just for you to say, look, I want to drop what I'm doing for a week and help you with Cancer Bites. And I'd love to be the host of Cancer Bites. I was thrilled. I was like, oh, that's a godsend. Okay, God, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Siobhan. Yeah, and it's not even dropping what I'm doing. It's just making my time continuum expand even more so that I can fit this in. And, you learn to prioritize what's important. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So take it away. Where are we going?
Okay. Well, I think, today we're going to look at just chat a bit to each other so that our audience can get to know who we are as hosts and share a bit about our personal stories. And then we're going to talk a little bit about, what's ahead, the format of the podcast and the kind of things that we want to focus on. And then talk about an exciting campaign that we have coming up to help to empower and give our community some hope. And then, we'll do a wrap up. We'll keep it interesting, engaging, fresh, and exciting. And that's the plan. So, I will start by, as I said, diving into our personal stories. So, I mean, I'll chat with you a little bit, Siobhan, and then it'll be your turn to ask me some questions. So, we'll dive right in. And, can you talk a little bit about when you first discovered this? I know, as your close friend, I sensed something was happening, but can you tell us a little bit about your diagnosis and how you felt?
I think, like a lot of women, I was healthy. I was trucking along, I was walking miles. I was doing all kinds of healthy things. I actually recall doing 50 sit-ups, like I hit that goal. So I was doing a lot of yoga, a lot of stretching, a lot of walking. And all of a sudden, I got allergies. At least I thought it was allergies. It was a really bad allergy season. And John had similar symptoms. He was sneezing and coughing and, snotty nose and the whole bit. And I had it and it got worse. His didn't get worse. He had true allergies. I had something different. And we would go for a walk and I wasn't able to keep up with him. And I'd be like, can we stop? Can we stop? And I couldn't understand why my allergies were worse than his. Why was I having trouble breathing? I was short of breath. And I've never been short of breath. And I have big lungs and I talk a lot. And I was having trouble talking, even. I was gasping for breath. And eventually, I don't know how long we went on like this. I'm going to guess, I'll have to piece it together one day, probably about 6 weeks. I was walking and not talking. I was crawling. I didn't get to crawling, but what I couldn't do was eventually get from the bedroom to the kitchen without stopping. And we live in a condo. It's not like we're in a palace or something. And it was right. So basically, if it wasn't for John's intervention, the doctor said I would have died. I would have either died in my sleep or just dropped to the floor because my heart wasn't going to be able to take that pressure of the shortness of breath, and it was pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping because it was trying to get air to my lungs. It was trying to do whatever it does. But so I ended up going to emergency, and I have never seen so many medical personnel come out of the woodwork. They surrounded me, they hooked me up to machines, they said, oh, it's not your heart. Then they started taking x-rays and CAT scans, and they came in. I remember the doctor, woman doctor, she was lovely, and she said, Siobhan, you have cancer. We can see it on the scans, and it would be breast cancer. And we're going to rush you right now. No, you can't go home. We're going to send you right to the hospital. And the ambulance came. I remember John leaving just before the ambulance came because he wanted to go home. He wanted to get me some pajamas, that sort of thing. And then he was going to come to the hospital. So the attendants came in and they hooked me up. I mean, I was already on oxygen because my oxygen level was in the 80s. And if it's below 90, you're in major trouble. You're in major trouble. Now, why it was so shocking was it wasn't pneumonia, or I thought, oh, it'll be a pneumonia, right? I was already doing that, and I continued doing that until the doctors came definitively days later and said, you've tested positive for HR2 or something, PR2, progesterone, positive, it's a hormonal breast cancer. And I kept bargaining with them because I was like, maybe it's just, right? Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's it's a bad case of asthma. Asthma runs in my family. Breast cancer doesn't run in my family. So it was shocking, and I couldn't grasp the gravity of it. Until the doctor came in, and he should have been on a television show. He was that good looking. If you ever see
wow.
And I would
tell you, there's some
I was telling him right in front of John. and he, he stood against the wall. He said, Siobhan, you have 6 or 7 years left to live. We'll make you as comfortable as possible.
What?
And John wasn't there. It was early in the morning, right? Because they come on their rounds.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anybody there. I just looked at him like dumbfounded, right? And then I don't, there's a lot I don't remember. There's a
Yeah.
lot about that, but there were some amazing things that happened, amazing moments, divine moments that happened, amazing people that showed up. I was taken care of, I was protected, I was
Yeah.
cared for, and I was loved. And
Yeah.
that really, really helped with the shock. And that is why I want to do this with you. I want our voices to ring beyond this little box that we're talking into.
Yeah, I know.
So many people around the world that are getting that same
Yeah.
diagnosis, hearing those same words from their doctors. And they were all shocked that I was alive.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I am like, well, I just couldn't walk from the bedroom to the kitchen. What's the problem? I'm just short of breath.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that your my lung filled up with fluid. I don't think I've told anybody that yet. What was
Mm.
happening was the cancer was eating holes or making the lining of my lung pleura, which is the air sac on the outside of your lung that your lung expands into. And the cancer was destroying that lining. So it was making it porous, and my body fluid was seeping into that cavity, and it was then pushing on my lung. So my lung got pushed closer and closer to the center,
Yeah.
closer to my heart, I guess. And it was crumpled up like a piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and that's one of the most vivid images that I have. I remember one of your posts, you put a picture of a crumpled up piece of paper to illustrate what your lung looks like. And I think, the combination of the shock and the diagnosis, but you still being able to name and give words to the fact that you felt protected and surrounded by love. And I think that's a sentiment that's become like a beacon in some of, yeah, yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. That's the best thing. And I know that's what's at the heart of this podcast and why we're doing this together, my love for you as a friend. And when I did hear about what you were going through, it was kind of like there was something in me that was like, this is it. This is the last straw. This is now so close to home. I think of the people in my life and in my family who I know have been diagnosed with cancer and breast cancer. And there was just a switch in me that flicked and said, no, this is enough, that we have to do something. So I think this podcast is a great idea. And, I know you've mentioned that you've been podcasting for a while now. It's since 2009. So, how do you think that experience of podcasting has kind of brought you full circle into this experience of Cancer Bite?
Well, when I started podcasting in 2009, it was because I had reached out on LinkedIn. I was working with the Bob Proctor group, and I was involved in writing a book, a program, that sort of thing. And so it was self-help, self-growth, self-awareness, all those sorts of things. So I had a really strong understanding of how our mindset can affect every part of our life, relationships, our physical being, just our careers, family, so on and so forth. So when I reached out on LinkedIn, I put out basically I want to hear your stories, of survival. It was something we were working on. And this woman from Louisiana, her name was Donna Butler, and she reached out to me, and we talked for 2-3 hours. We'd never known each other before. And she and I were like, it was like we'd known each other our entire lives. We came from very different backgrounds, and I loved her the minute I met her. And I hope she sees this, because what she told me was she had been sitting in the corner of her living room, ready to swallow sleeping pills because her life was just getting destroyed. There was so much going on in her life that she wanted to give up. Now, she had 7 children and a husband, but they were losing their house. He'd fallen off the roof. He'd hurt himself so badly that he wasn't able to work. He was in a wheelchair. She had 7 children. 5 of them she had adopted. I mean, she had the heart of a lion, and it was really big, it just as a mama lion, and she was amazing. And so in 2009, we started the Attitude Shift Show, and we had amazing guests on. I remember Golden Globe winner Sally Kirkland was on. Tom Brokaw's daughter, she'd written a book called Fortitude, and her name was Sarah Brokaw. And she came on the show, and there was this host of different people. I remember there was one of the actors from Knots Landing. He's since passed. There was all these amazing people, and not just celebrities. There were just real life people sharing their stories, and it was amazing. And so and it's not too long ago, it's probably only 2 weeks ago, where I woke up and I said, oh, wait a minute, I can do something. First of all, I have a tool. I founded growingtogive.org. It's a nonprofit in the United States. We work in the food security field, helping communities grow more food. And we support the Phoenix Food Forest and the visionary behind that, Christopher Macy, and it is now the largest food forest in the nation. The city of Phoenix has just put it on their GAIN event list, which is getting Arizona involved in neighborhoods. We are supported by the incredible baseball team, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Nice.
Sorry that you get
you're bringing out
Arizona Diamondbacks. So I even have a hat from the last day. What happened was I said, I can marry the self-growth and the self-awareness and the mindset part of what we did with the attitude shift with breast cancer, and talk to survivors, to talk to patients, to talk to experts, the doctors, the naturopaths. And we're already finding that there's stories that we hadn't even thought of, angles that we hadn't even thought of. And I'm going to turn this pain into purpose. Yeah. And the minute I decided this, Stacey, my energy went from 0 to 60 in a second. Yeah. On a Saturday morning, I had a headache. I felt, I'll get a coffee and I'll have some breakfast. And then I started to do the laundry, and it'd been hard for me to do this. I started cleaning the house. I had energy all day. And by the time I went to bed, I'm realizing that I actually felt normal.
Yeah.
And I think it had a lot to do with making that choice to turn my pain into purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
creating
awesome.
Cancer Bites. And I had already co-founded Growing to Give, and it's been growing. It's not huge or anything like that. And of course, we're in the nonprofit world, you and I, and we know that the funding for nonprofits is very, very slim now. There's a lot of grants that have been pulled and all that kind of stuff. But I said, I want to do something. So we're going to tell people what some of the things that we're going to be doing, right? Stacey?
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Yes, I cannot wait. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. That's great.
So let me ask you.
Sure.
And I don't know you. And for disclosure, everybody, Stacey is on the Growing to Give advisory board. You'll see her there when you go to growingtogive.org and look at our team.
Mhm.
And you have to excuse me, I sometimes have to do that little cough.
Mhm.
I just had a thoracentesis yesterday, and my lung is healing and there's less and less body fluid going in, but I
That's
had
good.
to go after 3 weeks. I was going every week. I mean,
Yeah.
that whole thing, when I was in the hospital, it was almost every day. There was so much fluid that they had to get out, and then it just keeps seeping back in. But you'll
Mhm.
hear sometimes in my voice. And that's why I didn't want to host the show, because it takes a lot of time.
Oh, yeah, we understand. Mhm.
So let me pretend I don't know you at all.
Okay, that's for sure.
You're from the Barbados.
Yes,
You're
I'm
from an
from.
indigenous
Yes,
community
yep.
called
It's called the Garifuna. Also
Garrison.
from the Grenadines, the Garifuna. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and you've had some adversity in your life. Can you
Yeah.
share a
Yeah,
moment?
sure.
Can you share about
Sure.
how you overcame?
Sure. So I think my adversity came when I kind of had to start my life over from scratch. It's funny how, I found myself in a situation where I was far away from home, I was with my son, my life was in danger, and I realized, I had to make a pivot, and I had to decide to, come back home to Barbados. And it's funny how you really have to work on your sense of self-worth and your self-esteem, and thinking I was a failure, even though now, like, that happened 7 years ago, and I have made the amount of life strides I can see that I've made and forward progress I've made in 7 years. It's a good thing. But when I was in it and kind of getting there and finding my way, it just felt as if I was just running in circles. So I think adopting the mindset, and this is where I think, one of the reasons we click so much, I really saw that it's a combination of recognize when you need help and ask for that help. Like, I managed to get counseling, I got, support, and I think that was really important. But there was a point at which I realized my life really wasn't moving forward. I was stuck in this loop, counseling, kind of things not going too well, thinking I was doing it, and realizing, you know what? I had to just take a leap out of my comfort zone and decide what direction did I want my life to go in, even if it felt as if, okay, I was going backwards. And I think that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because it made me really look at how resilient am I in my core, but not only that, the importance of balancing resilience with joy, because you get into a habit of just living in survival mode, and you realize you're having certain behavioral patterns that are linked to survival, not thriving and not joy. So it's very important to get the help you need to recognize that, but also really, really focus on the little steps forward. And I think that's helped me, also even in terms of building and founding my nonprofit, recognizing in the space of sustainability, it's not an easy place. There are ways that, as someone who is, Indigenous and from the global South, you can tell people are looking to take advantage of you. People are looking to take your ideas. People are looking to, use you as a way to get funding and then put you aside. And I realized, I need to try to kind of step out on my own and become a consultant and see. I mean, there are times when I remember when I was doing it, I thought, oh my gosh, I must be crazy. But I knew it was better. It was better. It was one of those things, take that leap of faith and, build my wings as I'm soaring, and I'm really glad I did that. I'm glad I did that, honestly. So yeah, that's just a little bit.
Really is a leap of faith. So I took a leap of faith that I could survive long enough to see Cancer Bites to
Yeah.
fruition, that I could survive long enough to see it build into an international campaign as part of growingtogive.org. Um, I'm as I said, ever since I came to that conclusion that I could turn my fear and my pain and my anguish, my agony and the worry and all the horrible thing, horrible things that come into your mind. I I had a night where I was lying in bed and I was like, if John would just put the pillow over my face and that's it, I
Oh,
just want to go. And
oh,
I remember just having to like unplug that, right?
yeah,
It's like I had to stop that current
yeah,
from working, and I
yeah,
got up and I said, John, wake up. I'm
yeah,
having really horrible dark thoughts, and
yeah,
I'm gonna go sit in the living room. Well,
yeah,
he didn't go back to sleep.
mm,
He came and sat with me,
yeah,
and he would not go back to sleep. He kept trying to get me to go back. He's so good at trying to, he's so good at
yeah,
getting me to shift out of the attitude I'm in,
yeah,
the mindset that he makes me laugh. Um, Even in the hospital, I wanted to just go home. I just wanted to go home and die in his arms. And the nurse didn't, she's like,
yeah,
no, no, you're not going home. You can't breathe. You can't walk.
yeah,
You're not going home. And in walked John, and he just took control of the situation, and he knew how to get a smile on my face. And the nurse was so impressed. She goes, I just saw her smile. Then I started to laugh. And
That's
she
so
said,
awesome.
John, you should come work here because I'm not the first person who's been given this diagnosis that has thought this way,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I want to ask you though, why
Okay.
did you say yes to hosting this show?
Oh my goodness. It's funny that you say that because it's almost like there was something, there's a deep, deep, like almost like a divine, compelling reason why I said yes. Because I mean, I have a lot going on. Like I'm literally at the point when like I don't even wonder whether I have time to do something or not. Because if I stay in that mindset, I would never do anything. And like when I say to my son and my family, oh, guys, I have another project. They're like, another project. But they know if I do that, it's because I feel that what you're going through and the way that you're handling this, Siobhan, is such a source of inspiration that I feel so honored to be a part of it because even how you outlined that, I think it's very important as you're going through this journey, even think of my own adversity and not to compare it to what you're going through because that's something else entirely, but the recognition of it's important to own those dark thoughts that come from your shadow self because that's how you process them. If you try to suppress them too much, they just fester even more, and I think it's really great that you see that there's a balance. This whole podcast, and one of the reasons I said yes to hosting is that we want to focus on some positive things, but not in the sense of toxic positivity where we just decide to ignore everything else. And you embody that. You talk about the dark thoughts. You talk about how you felt. And we have to recognize that that is part and parcel of the experience. But also, oh my goodness, they're the little things that can bring you joy, even though you have this journey. And the appreciation of those quote unquote little things is when I saw, you know what, yeah, it's like you're totally my soul sister, and I absolutely have to say yes. So that's the short story.
Beautiful thing. And I'm so glad you're hosting the show. I know it'll get busy for you, but I,
That's fine.
I will find people to to help you. I'm already
I know.
volunteers to help produce the show. We have a committee that we've put together that more people are joining. I think our committee meeting is tomorrow at
Yeah,
11
we have another one. Yeah.
time. And some of the first people on that committee are also sponsors
Yeah.
of one of the campaigns that we're going to share. But
Yeah.
actually, as you were talking about that, I realized I had a dream last night where these wild horses were just
Oh,
running by. They were running and running, and they were strong, and their haunches were
oh,
strong, and
gotcha.
their manes were flying. They were just
Yeah.
beautiful. And then all of a sudden, the rock face was blue and pinks,
That is
kinds. And then the horses ran up the rock face and became part of the picture.
that is incredible.
And then the next scene was wolves, and they were farther out in the field.
Right.
They were
Yeah.
way out in the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, you're getting stronger,
Yeah.
Siobhan.
Yeah.
You're that wild horse. And the
Yeah.
wolves, that
Yeah.
pack is not
Yeah.
gonna come and get you.
No, wolves are actually quite a divine spirit animal, quite honestly, in shamanism. So that's incredible. Those are some strong messages you're getting.
Oh, very cool. They're
That's
spirit.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll have to look that
Okay.
up
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because we're already past our half hour. I knew that would
Oh
happen.
my goodness, no way. Time
But
went so
let's
fast.
go
Oh
in
my
like
goodness,
another
yeah.
probably 15 minutes because we've got.
Sure, yeah, yeah. We have stuff to tackle, yeah.
What do you hope to bring to breast cancer patients, their caregivers, even survivors? I mean, it's
Yeah,
John is a cancer survivor, but it's constantly in the back of his mind is
yeah,
cancer.
yeah, 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 exactly. And I think what I want to bring is that even though, I myself have not experienced cancer, well, not yet. I mean, who knows what the future holds, right? But I want to say that really and truly, honestly, like to give a sense of hope and to know that it's really important to have allies because it's a very isolating experience. And as I said, I can't imagine what it's like. But I want to be there. I want to be able to help people. I think again of the people in my life who I know and love who've been affected by this disease. And I want people to know that they're not alone and that there is somewhere, there's Cancer Bites where, you can get a sense of hope, you can get a smile, you can, there are ways that we're looking to put together campaigns. It's not, we're not giving medical advice per se, that this is not the forum for that. There are support groups who focus on that, but this is more just about the little sparkles and glimmers of joy that we can give and we can facilitate. That's what we want to do. So that's what I hope to bring.
Sparkles. I love
Yeah.
sparkles.
Yeah, I love sparkle too.
Me a glue gun and
Yeah.
I would love making sparkly.
Sparkle too.
Yeah. Maybe I'll start making wreaths for everybody.
Yeah.
So, okay, so each week we are going to be talking to, as I said earlier, caregivers, patients, doctors, and allies. You're talking advocates, people that are out there advocating for better research in breast cancer. There's so many people. We've already put out a call, and with so many people sending us pitches and saying we want to be on Cancer Bites, that
Yeah.
I think we have enough for I don't know how many weeks. I mean, 30 or 40 weeks. That's almost a whole year if we just went
Oh
with
my
everybody
goodness.
that sent in a pitch right now.
Yeah.
And so expect a mix of personal stories, expert advice, and the practical tools for resilience. And then throw in the glitter.
Yeah, throwing the glitter there, and the glitter is, and the love and the glitter, and that's all some of the amazing guests we have lined up. We have incredible leading doctors. We have Dr. Christina Porto-Caterman coming up in October, and she's the co-author of the incredible book Coping with Cancer in Early Adulthood. And, as I said, it's a great book, and I'm reading it too. But she's a leading psycho-oncologist that you're going to meet. And, we also have organizations who are stepping up to support this community. So those are just some of the things that we have lined up ahead for you. And
Yeah, and we have a we have some of the committee members came in as sponsors first. And so I
yeah,
want to give them a shout out. Leanne at Everlasting Jewelry, and then Jesse makes stuff. That's what.
yeah. I love that name, by the way. That is like the best. That is an amazing name. So that's, and that's some of these sponsors, they are focusing on our campaign. So we have this lovely campaign, we call it our gift bag campaign, where we're trying to, create these little gift bags that we can gift people who are going through chemotherapy or going through treatment and experiencing cancer. So, and some of the sponsoring partners include Simon and Schuster. You mentioned Everlasting Jewelry and Jesse Makes Stuff. We have Clean Beauty, our favorite Growing to Give team. is going to help with all of this. So we're filling bags not just with things, but those things and the process of filling those bags is so infused with love and encouragement and just little items of comfort for anyone who's experiencing breast cancer.
I know I was so excited today because I get a message almost every day from somebody who's donating. And today it was from Marlene at Gleam, and it's a skincare line.
Oh,
I
wonderful.
sending 30 gift bags full of skincare. I can't, I said to her rep, I'm going to try it. And I'm going to do a whole lot of promos. And I already did a promo. I haven't put it out yet. When these came in, because we got 60 books from Simon and Schuster, Dr. Christina Pozo Caterman and Saul Wisnia, her co-host or co-author, not a co-host. They wrote this book, Coping with Cancer in Early Adulthood. So I think it'll be good for us old folks too. Not that you're.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't assume that. So yeah, what else do we have going on here? They can sponsor a bag.
Yeah.
We need bags and tissue paper and ribbons and all those sorts of things. So you can send those along. I think they should be pink, pink and white, pink, different colors of pink. They don't all have to be the same. We want to get stickers and little cards and things like that, so we can write notes of encouragement. But also, if you can write a whole bunch of notes of encouragement and then ship them to us, we'll make sure that those notes go in as well to these bags. So when somebody who is in the hospital gets one of these gift bags, or somebody who's going through the cancer treatments and they're going regularly in to see their oncologist, we're going to be providing these gift bags to those women and men. Somebody told me that there were some men that we have to try out as well. So if you can donate money, you donate through Growing to Give, the nonprofit. So the same with the sponsorship. We'll promote whatever your company is. We'll promote it. We'll put it on our Growing to Give website. You'll see at the bottom of the growingtogive.org website a carousel of sponsors already. You'll be in that carousel. John will probably also add you to the cancer support page. You'll be there. I can write articles about what you're doing, your company is doing to help with breast cancer, and how great, for instance, your skincare is, or how beautiful your necklaces or your bracelets or whatever jewelry it is, or how amazing the affirmation books that you've written and donated to this cause are. So there's lots of ways we'll get your name out and help you, because you're helping the women that we are helping that have breast cancer. So we're going to go to town and help you too. So donate, share, send us product, gifts. If even if you just hand make some things, like maybe you knit scarves. I think one of the nicest things I got next to my Bible and my devotional books that came in was a blanket. It was this beautiful blue blanket that when I was more ill, I was cold. So I would put this blanket around my shoulders, and it just felt so good. So, whatever it is that you can think of, painted feathers are coming. It's just amazing what's coming. Some artwork is coming. It's just, we've only just touched.
I know, right?
The surface of this. It's I'm beyond grateful. I'm speechless, actually.
Yeah.
Because I work very hard to help others, and I
Mm,
have always done that. And I give, and I'm part of, growing to give, and I help other people, with their podcasts, and help, do a lot of volunteer work. And there's something about this, something different about
exactly.
this.
Exactly, exactly. And I think, what you're describing and everything, that's a lot of coordination that we're just diving in head first. So, I mean, we have a committee, as you mentioned, you want to tell us a little bit about the committee that's forming to bring this community together?
Yes, I do. Because Jessie, who is one of our sponsors and on the committee, and she will be handling our merchandise line,
Okay.
coffee mugs and hats and t-shirts and whatever else, I don't know. Because she's an artist, first and foremost. But she was probably the first person I spoke to who was offering to sponsor gift bags, products for gift bags, things to put in the gift bags. And I told her about the committee. And I said, I'm trying to bring together all these women so that we can, you know, bring these skills and talents everybody has. We all have different skills and talents, because I can't do this on my own. There will be no way. Nothing will get done. Not only am I a breast cancer patient, I also have this tendency to, oh, there's a pretty butterfly. I totally forget, what I'm focused on, what I'm supposed to be doing. A little ADD there, ADHD, nothing wrong with that, but I'm one of those people. So getting me to do all the work is not going to be happening. So I, Jesse said, oh, we can call it the titty committee.
Best name ever. Like, that's one of the reasons I knew I had to be a part of this, because I was like, yeah, that name alone, yes.
Yeah, I know. So you can join the titty committee if you have a skill or a talent, you're good at organizing. Um, you know, I'm trying to put this tracker together, but thank God we have a data scientist that volunteers for Growing to Give, and she's going to help me organize this spreadsheet. She's done it for the Phoenix Food Forest and any of other projects that we have there. So she's going to take this, and so we can keep our guests straight and all that kind of stuff. So, and every contribution, no matter what it is you can do, whether you're just sharing this video or you're sharing a post or you're joining Cancer Bites support group. There's actually a support group that's private. And then there's the Facebook page. I've started a LinkedIn page. All these things will grow. Growing to Give has its own YouTube channel, and I've put a playlist for Cancer Bites because I'm sharing my story in little
Yeah.
bites. That's where Cancer Bites came from. I'm gonna, it's like journaling. I tell
Yeah.
bits, little bites of my journey. And so if you can be part of the committee, we're meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Send me a message, send it to admin@growingtogive.org, and make sure that it's growingtogive.org, because there is another Growing to Give in the farming community, and I don't want them to get all these Cancer Bites emails. And so if you believe in what we're building, you believe in what we're going to grow, please help us.
Yeah.
Share, subscribe to Cancer Bites, subscribe to the YouTube growingtogive.org. Go there, go to the bottom of the page. You'll see the Facebook pages. It's Cancer Bites podcast and support. No, podcast and community is the page, and then you'll find the group from there. Just put in Cancer Bites. It looks like it's, there's no other Cancer Bites.
Yeah, we're unique. We're special.
So
We're
you'll
very
find,
special.
and I'll get John to I think he's put the links on the cancer support page on growingtogive.org already.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And what else?
Well, we want you to know that, like, you talked about journaling and sharing your story, and that's one of the things we want to do. Your story matters. Every story matters because we want to hear your voice. And just like you've told your story, if you feel comfortable sharing that, because I think sharing provides empowerment. It eases that sense of isolation. And you might think, and it lifts a burden,
Yeah.
and if you are comfortable sharing, then please share. I know so many stories already, and I've reached out to people to say, no pressure, but there's a possibility for you to share your story if you want to. And, I would highly recommend it because, you say cancer bites, and, because, well, we bite back, hope bites back, as we like to say. So that's something we definitely want to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't believe how quickly the time is gone, though. That's the only thing with this. This is going to be an amazing journey. So we want to thank you as our audience for our launch, our podcast launch, and we have the next episode next week, September 30th. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and and we're going to kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we'll have replays, and if you want to, we'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on. We have our growingtogive.org YouTube channel that you're going to find the replays on. So we'd really encourage you to watch those and, comments, just say like, subscribe, and let us know what you'd like to see and how you can support us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about love.
It certainly is. It certainly is. This is going to be, I can tell these Tuesday nights are going to be just like the best. They're
And
really going to be something I look forward to.
I think one of the things that I did this weekend was I forgave everybody in my past that I've ever had any kind of, issues with.
Mm, mm.
Uh,
Very important, very
when
powerful.
when you're given that expiry date, I do,
Super powerful.
yeah, you might have hurt me, you might have stolen from me, um,
Yeah.
but I have to live my life, and,
Yeah.
and I don't know how long I have, and nobody does, right? But the thing is it's in your face when you've been diagnosed with cancer. It's in your face.
Yeah.
And so I think that you have to get to that point where you say, I forgive you, cancer. I forgive the disease that's growing inside me, the tumors. I forgive that. That may have come as a result of, stress upon stress upon stress, and, years when you were younger of bad eating and, unhealthy habits. Who knows, right? But for a lot of breast cancer patients, it is hormonal, from what I understand.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so it's not our fault.
Exactly.
So forgive the cancer, forgive and just push all the drama, all the people that make the drama,
Mm.
push them over to the side, out of your life if you can, and focus on the love.
That is the most amazing piece of advice. Focus on the love. And that's the only way that it's funny, and that will have a ripple effect and everything's going to get better. So I think those are incredible words of wisdom to close on, Siobhan. And I'm so excited for next week already. So, thanks so much to all of you who tuned in, and we will see you all next week.
And good night, everybody. And come up with a closing line for Stacey. I love
Yes.
closing lines. So come up with a closing line.
Yeah, I'll have to think of one.
Put it in the comments. Let's
I'll think
see
of
if
one.
we have a great closing line.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Siobhan. Have a good one.
Thank you,
Bye.
Stacey. I so appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Bye.